Hi everybody, welcome back to the Cast. This week you have your OGs Nick and Justin with you.
Welcome back.
Yeah, we're excited to get some new books on the table. I know, Nick, you've been talking quite a bit about Slaves of Darkness.
I've been excited about Slaves of Darkness since the Tarantula Brood dropped. That's been the unit that has driven me into Slaves of Darkness theory crafting since then, and I haven't really gotten around to delving into the army.
So how many Tarantulas Brood are you bringing?
I've got 0 tonight.
Okay, yeah.
But I've been building and painting and getting my Spider Dream army ready. And so I'm going to do some testing tonight on some builds so I can keep building.
Nice. I, on the other hand, I've got my Gutbusters out. I'm not even going to say I have Ogor Mawtribes. I have Gutbusters today.
Pure foot ogres, slogging around.
Lots of man meat flying around, going to whip you in the face. And we're excited to talk about these armies. I'm going a little bit off meta, I guess, for what everyone's talking about.
For sure. You're very much on the foot ogres, which got a huge glow up in terms of raw numbers.
Sure. And your list has been deemed you're an insane weirdo. So that's exciting to talk about as well. So do you want to tell us about your army?
Let's get into it.
Sounds good.
I really like Heed Knights of Slaanesh, and I want them to play differently on the table. I want them to be screamingly fast and have a bunch of chain activations and fights first and things like that. And Heed Knights of Slaanesh isn't quite there, right? But this Slaanesh marked Slaves of Darkness army is exactly what I want out of that army. So it's mostly Slaanesh marked. I do have a couple of Khorne pieces. I've got a Chaos Lord on Karkadrak, and I've got a Chaos Sorcerer Lord, who's my general. He's got the Arcane Tome and Master of Magic, so he's going to be able to do the draw on power heroic action and become a very reliable caster. And he knows the Demonic Speed spell to play into that theme. Those are my heroes. For my units, I've got 1 unit of 6 Khorne marked Varangard, 1 unit of 3 Khorne marked Varangard. They are going to be some intense hammer and anvil combinations. And then I've got 5 Chaos Knights. They're going to be able to chain activate with the Kark Lord. The Chaos Knights are marked Slaanesh, so they're going to get the benefit of some extra speed. They've got the Slaanesh banner as well, which is going to give them bonus attacks on the charge. I've got 1 unit of Corvus Cabal and 1 unit of Untamed Beasts. Both of them are interesting move-based cultists. They've got the pregame move for the Untamed Beasts and the Deep Strike for the Cabal. So those are going to give me some interesting play on the battlefield. And then I've got a Slaanesh marked War Shrine. And then I've got one more piece, and that is Sigvald, who is going to benefit from my War Shrine prayer and be screaming fast up the field. We'll see how it can do.
So when you hear people talk about this new Ogor Mawtribes book, the first thing they say is Iron Blasters. Well, I am bringing a Gentleman's Iron Blaster, but that is not the point of this army. The point of this army is to bring a bunch of hungry fat boys to get in and do some charging. So I am going to be in Meatfist, I think that's what it's called, and my general is going to be the Tyrant. He has the command trait that gives him 2 big names, so I'm going to make him extremely tough. He's got Fate Seeker, and he has the Death Cheater. So he'll be on a 3-up save, and he'll have a 5-up ward. I have Butcher that is going to know Blood Feast. And back to my Tyrant, he also has Arcane Tome and Flaming Weapon. Those are my only 2 heroes. Then we're going to bring 2 units of 4 Iron Guts, 2 units of 6 Gluttons, 2 units of 4 Lead Belchers, the Gentleman's Iron Blaster, as I mentioned, because you just don't leave home without 1. And then we're going to have 20 Noblars, because based on Nick's list, I think I need a bit of a screen. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I'm super excited. It's wrapped up in a battle regiment, but I'm 3 drops, so I don't think that's going to be the best play today. Super excited to get these guys on the table. I think with the Rend and the additional kind of better War Scrolls I have now, that they can be effective, and I like the fact that units of 3 now can charge and do mortal wounds on 4-ups. But it's going to be interesting. This should be a bloodbath, so we'll see how it goes. Nick, you ready to have some fun?
Let's do it.
All right, thanks. So today we're playing Battle Lines Drawn, It is kind of a simple battle plan, except instead of having objectives, you have corners of the board. You can test a corner of the board if you have models fully within that corner. Four quarters of the board. The one kind of different rule is you cannot teleport in this one. So there will be no teleporting, even though I don't think either army has any. And it's the same as always. It's score 1, score 2, score more, battle tactic for 2, and grand strat for 3. So I'm very packed in behind, and I need to be sure to try to be 3 inches fully behind my navbar screen. I don't know how effective this would be if Nick came in turn 1 or comes in period, but it's what I can do. So that's what I'm doing. If Nick gives me the turn, I will make some decisions, but if he takes the turn, I feel like I needed to be defensive.
I position myself to either be offensive or defensive, depending on Justin's first turn. I know his threat range on his shooting is really, really high with the Iron Blaster, so he's going to be able to get into pretty much whatever he wants. And I didn't want to be so far back that that I was out of range of it, because then that really is going to sacrifice some of my offensive punch on the counter swing. So I just pushed everything up forward into a melee castle, knowing that with my speed, I'm going to be able to strike out kind of wherever Justin goes. And then I've got the pregame move to help screen if I decide to give the first turn, which ultimately is what I'm going to do here. Justin's going to have the first turn. Pregame move here for the Untamed Beasts. They're going to go there 6 inches. I'm going to Proving Grounds my quarter of the board, mostly just so that Justin can't Proving Grounds me on it later.
Sure. So I'm against the odds. I'm taking my back unit of Iron Guts. For my heroic action, I'm going to try, I have 2 command points. I'm going to try for an additional command point from my general. I'm not going to get it.
Okay. I am going to Finest Hour my Chaos Sorcerer Lord.
In my hero phase, I am going to attempt to cast Mystic Shield from my general. He's not going to get it on a 3. I am going to attempt to cast, oh, it would have been a 4, but that still wouldn't make enough. And then I'm going to attempt to cast Blood Feast from my Butcher. It's not going to go off on a 4 or 5. Into movement. So my movement here was to basically stay in my castle. I didn't feel like I wanted to push up. I wanted to kind of stay back, make Nick's charges a little bit more difficult, make it so that he can't do potentially that chain of reactionary fighting. And also I wanted to ensure that maybe I got a couple of shots with my Iron Blaster, but I'm really gonna see how this goes. If Nick doubles me, I might be in a lot of trouble, but at the same time, I was going to be in trouble if Nick doubled me anyway, so I thought best discretion was the best form of valor here. All right, end of shooting. I'm going to spend 1 command point, go down to 2, or 1, I'm sorry, and give all out attack to the Gutbuster. He's going to put his shots into carpet drag.
Okay, I am going to all out defense here.
He is going to be -1 to hit, right? Or not?
Yep, he is a 9 wounds or less hero, so you get look up, sir.
So this is going to be 2 shots, 4s and 2s. 1 hit, 1 wound at -2.
-2 with the all out defense. This is going to be 4 ups, and I'm going to pass it.
That's going to be it for my turn. I'm going to complete my battle tactic for 2. I control 1. I control 2. I will have a total of 4 points.
Okay. And the pregame move there coming in big for the Untamed Beast to deny the control more. And we'll get into Slaves of Darkness, bottom 1. Alright, let's see how fast this Slaanesh Slaves of Darkness army can be. We'll get into things here. My battle tactic here is going to be against the odds, and I'm going to pick my unit of 3 Varangard to try to pick that up. For my heroic action, I'm going to draw on power with my Chaos Sorcerer Lord. That's going to give him 3d6 dice, 3 dice to cast with for both of his spells because he's got Arcane Tome, but he will miscast on double 1s.
I'm going to try to roll for an extra command point from my Tyrant. Not going to get it.
First thing I'm going to do in my hero phase proper then is going to pray with the War Shrine, and it's going to pray for its War Scroll prayer, Unnatural Speed, which can only be used on a Slaanesh unit. And that's going to go on the Knights if it goes off. Need a 3. And I failed that on a 2, so I'm not going to get that. That is going to change how I decide to play out this turn here. Next up, my Sorcerer Lord is going to attempt to cast, and he's going to attempt to cast, first up, Demonic Speed. This is going to be cast with 3 dice. Again, 2 1s will be a miscast here. He does have Master of Magic for a reroll once per phase. And so this is going to go off with a 7.
I'm out of range, somebody.
Okay, so Demonic Speed is going to go on the unit of Chaos Knights. Then going to attempt to cast his War Scroll spell, Demonic Power. And going to get that on an 11. That's going to go on the Knights as well. So they're going to be +1 to hit, +1 to wound, and they're going to have 3 dice to charge with. He's going to use Oracular Visions, and that's going to go on the unit of 6 Varangard to give them a 6-up ward. And then we can get into movement.
A couple things here, because Nick so foolishly moved within 6 of my Nobblers. On a 4-up, he's going to take D3 mortal wounds. No. And then I'm going to do a redeploy, spend 1 command point on my Nobblers. They'll go 1.
While Justin was very cagey in his deployment and very defensive, I was very offensive and moved forward very aggressively with my 2 units, my 2 biggest hammer units, my block of Knights, and my 6 Varangard. And I'm hopeful that I can get some work done in this turn, or failing that, maybe get some work done in a potential double. But I am going to put some pretty significant blocks in front of Justin and see if he can fight his way out of them. Couple of charges to make here then. Going to charge first with the Varanguard. They need just a 3 to get into the Noblars, but I would like something a little bit better than that. We'll see what we can do. They've got boxcars.
Seems good.
Seems good here. And with that Varanguard move, I have opened myself up by making a move and finishing it near the Noblars. The traps are going off.
On a 4. D3. For 3.
Alright, they've got a 4-up mortal wound shrug on the Varanguard, and I'm going to fail all 3 of those. That's 3 mortal wounds from the Noblars.
Tricky, trappy. Tricky traps. And then I'm also going to spend my last Kinman point to unleash hell on Mr. Nick.
Sure.
So this will be 10 attacks. It will be -1. So this will be 10 attacks. These will be 4s and 3s. So it's 3. I think just 1. Yep, just 1 and -1.
Alright, that could have gone a lot worse for me. My save here is a 4-up, and I'll pass that. Another charge to make then is going to be the Chaos Knights. They've got 3 dice on this charge, and they are going 15 inches. 16 because they're Slaanesh marked. The Noblars are going to pop off.
Yeah, the Noblars. No.
Oh, no traps this time. They were a little bit too confident after that Varanguard situation. We don't have any monstrous actions, so we'll get into the combat phase then. Alright, hopefully it's overkill here, but I'm going to activate first with my demonic-powered, Slaanesh-marked, bannered knights, and here's to hoping that they will just absolutely obliterate this screen.
Well, why would you do that first? I mean...
Well, I want to really free up the Varanguard so that they can pile in as far as I am able and not be hindered at all, and try to push them in so I can potentially double activate and do a lot of work here.
And you're not super nervous about the Iron Blaster swinging back, really, right? I mean, it's a good attack, but it's mainly it's a cannon rather than a beefy guy.
It's not my biggest concern in melee, that's for sure.
No.
So the Chaos Knights, they are going to get 1 bonus attack on the charge because of that Slaanesh banner. And so they are going to be on 4 lance attacks each, and the leader gets an extra, so that's 21 lance attacks. And because of demonic power, the 4s and 3s are going to go to 3s and 2s. And I am not making a pile-in move here because of the devastating nature of the Noblar traps.
You don't do it. You just don't.
So we've got 3s and 2s here. No penalties, right?
There should be, but there aren't any.
And 2s to wound. That is going to be 11 at -2, 2 damage each. 22. That'll take out the Noblars. The unit I feared most.
They did their thing. They showed up. They did 3 mortal wounds to Varanguard.
Very solid.
Nothing to sneeze at.
And then it is going to be your activation here.
I mean, I'm pretty forced to go in with the Iron Blaster before you kill it. I don't have any command points to really help him out here, so we are going to be...
I'm going to go ahead and all-out defense here.
Sure. Top profile is going to be, his clubber is going to be 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, no rent. It's going to be 2 at no rent.
2 2-ups. Going to make both of those.
And then he's going to have 2 4s and 3s. 2 at -1.
2 3-ups. Failed one of those.
1d3 for 2.
Okay, they've got the 6-up from Miraculous Visions, and going to fail both of those. That is going to kill 1 Varanguard.
You take what you can get. And then the Jagged Blade is going to be 2 attacks, 5s and 5s. And that will whiff.
My next activation then is the Varanguard. Only 3 of my Vanguard are going to get in on this attack. They've got the ensorcelled weapons, so that's going to be normally 15 attacks, but that's going to go to 18 attacks because they are corn marked and they charged. So we've got 18 3s and 3s. Threes to wound. That is going to be 7 at -1.
I need another 2 damage.
Yes.
So this will be 7 5-ups. Need to hit a whole bunch of these. I hit 2, so that is going to be a dead Iron Blaster.
Okay, you love to see it. Now I have tagged in your lead belchers here.
So only 2 of my lead belchers can really get in here. 5 attacks, 3s and 3s, north. Hot rolling 4 at Norend.
4 at Norend. They're going to be 2-ups. They've still got that all-out defense up. Going to pass them all.
Here we go.
I have the option here to activate with the Vanguard again. And I am going to go ahead and activate the Vanguard again here. I feel like I can deal a significant amount of damage, but I'm going to be very careful with this pylon. It's going to look like a funny pylon because I absolutely do not want to pull the Iron Guts into combat. Again, it's going to be just the front 3 Vanguard that are in, just their ensorcelled weapons, and so, but they still get that corn bonus, so it's going to be a total of 18 attacks here, 3s and 3s. Good roll on the hits. Looking for 3s on the wounds. That is going to be a total of 12 at -1.
So I'm going to get 12 5-ups. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4. So 8 are going to go through that 16 damage.
Yep.
That's the unit.
And then the amount of attacks there are wasted, but that's all right. I did a lot of work there. They took out 340 points or so of shooting, and I got rid of that screen. And realistically here, got them out of combat. If I can get a double here, I'll be in great shape, but I don't think I'm in necessarily terrible shape if if Justin gets the turn here. So I am going to be in a pretty good position here in terms of objective play. So for objectives here, I am going to hold my own, hold this one here, and hold that one there for more. And my Vanguard are going to get there against the odds. So I'm going to get a total of 5 points here.
Sounds good. This priority roll is very important. If I get doubled here, you might just see me evaporate already. So let's hope for the gutties that I get a 6 here.
I got a 2 to your 1, and I'm definitely going to take it.
Sounds good.
For my battle tactic here, I'm going to take Desecrate Their Lands, and I'm going to take this piece of terrain right here. For my heroic action, I'm going to draw on power on the sorcerer again, so he's going to have the 3d6 casting.
I'm going to try to roll for another command point from my tyrant. I will not get it.
Okay. For my prayers, I'm going to attempt to pray the Slaanesh prayer onto Sigvald from the War Shrine. I need a 3. And I got it, so Sigvald has now the 3d6-inch charge. For my spellcasting, with the draw on power, the Sork Lord is going to attempt to cast Demonic Speed. And going to get that on an 11.
You're good.
And going to put that on the Karkadrak Lord. Then going to attempt to cast Demonic Power. Going to get that on a 13, and going to put that on the Kark Lord as well. Oracular Visions is going to go on that same Karkadrak Lord from the Sork Lord, and then we'll get into movement. Because of the game state, movement here was very straightforward. It was really all about just continuing to box Justin in. I'm going to have that Dream chain activation. Sigvald and the Karkadrak Lord are both going to have 3d6-inch charges. And Sigvald has a very long charge, but he gets a +3 bonus on his charge on his War Scroll. So with 3d6 and +3, he's got a shot here. Going to charge first here with the Karkadrak Lord. He gets 3 dice on this, and he gets +1 because he's Slanesh marked. That is going to be a total of 15 inches. When the Karkadrak Lord finishes his charge, on a 2-up, he will do D3 mortal wounds. So, yes, it goes off, and it does 1 mortal wound.
I'm going to Unleash Hell on... I'll do 2 command points. I'm going to Unleash Hell. So I'm going to get 4 D3 attacks. This will be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this will be 5s and 3s. 1 at -1.
1 at -1 is going to be a 4-up. And made it. Alright, now we got our long bomb charge here. Sigvald, he needs a 17-inch charge. I'm rolling 3 dice, and he's got +3, so I need a 14 on dice here. That 9 will not do it. And I am not feeling so spicy that I'm going to command point reroll Siggy's charge. So we'll then roll the Knights. They just have 2 dice, but they can flip the lesser of them to a 4, so that's actually a 10-inch charge. 11 because of Slanesh mark. And then we've got our Varangard charge, and they are in on an 8. That's it for charges. There's no monstrous actions to take here. Now I've got some spicy activation shenanigans. The Karkadrak Lord is going to activate first, and he's got strike first because he charged this turn. So he's going to fight, and then he immediately is going to make the Knights fight as well. We're going to put all these into that unit of Lead Belchers there in front. So we got 4 attacks with the Hex Battle Axes here. These are going to be on 2s and 2s because of demonic power. And that is going to be 3 at -1.
These will be 3 5-ups. I'm going to make 2 damage.
2 damage.
My one guy will be at 3.
3 attacks here with the Demon Bound Blade. 2s and 2s, but looking for 6s to hit. 3 6s to hit. So 3 mortal wounds. And then 2 at -2.
These will be 2 6-ups. I'm going to make 1 damage.
D3. So 1 more, so a total of 4 damage there. Got more on the mortal wounds than the actual attacks. And then 4 attacks with the Tearing Horn and Claws. These are going to be 3s and 2s. All of them hit. And all of them wound. That's 4 at -1.
This will be 4 5-ups. I'm going to make 2 damage.
2 damage each. Then I immediately get to fight with my Chaos Knights still in the strike first phase. Gonna pile in a little bit. Gonna split my attacks here. I've got 2-inch reach on the lances. So 3 of them are going to put their lances into that unit of Gluttons. And then 2 of them are gonna, including the champion, are gonna put their lances into the Lead Belchers. And I'm gonna have 1 of them that can get their hooves into the back line, and 3 of them that are going to get their hooves into the front line, and I am going to spend for all-out attack here.
Sounds good.
So first up, the lances that are going into the Lead Belchers. My Slanesh banner gives me +1 attacks here, so I'm going to have a total of 9 attacks from the 2 going into Lead Belchers, and because of the all-out attack, these are 3s and 3s. That is going to be a total of 5 at -2.
This is going to be 5 6-ups. Gonna make 2 damage.
2 damage each.
I will get the unit.
And then I've got 12 lance attacks into that unit of Gluttons. And these are on 3s and 3s as well. Total of 6 here at -2.
This is going to be 6 6-ups. I'm going to make 2. That will be 8 damage. I'm going to lose 2 Gluttons.
Okay. And then just one had his hooves in, so a total of 3 attacks there on the trampling hooves on 3s and 4s. 1 hit, and 1 wound at no rend.
This will be a 4. I'll pass it.
Okay. So that concludes the strike first phase. I'm then going to take the first activation in the standard phase, and that's going to be my unit of Vanguard, and they're going to put all of their attacks into that unit of
Iron Guts.
Iron Guts.
I am going to use all of defense here, so I'll be down to 1 point.
Okay, sounds good. These are Khorne Vanguard, so they do get the +1 attack, and now I do have 2 of the Fell Spears in, so it's going to be 3 with the Ensorcelled Weapons and 2 with the Fell Spears. We'll do the Ensorcelled Weapons first. Going to be a total of 18 attacks here, and these will be 3s and 3s. That is going to be 11 at -1.
11 out of 18. Seems pretty decent.
It's pretty good.
11 and 4. Ooh, that was a sexy roll, too. Coming right back at you with sexy rolls, Nick. So I'm going to take 6 damage. I'm going to lose...
Then the Fell Spears, they're at 4 attacks each. Total of 8 attacks here. These are going to be on 3s and 2s because of the charge. 3s and 2s. I'm going to drop 3 of those. That is going to be 5 at -3 on the charge.
And these are how many damage each?
2.
This is going to be 5 6-ups. I am going to pass 1 damage.
2 damage each.
So that's going to be 8 more. I'm going to lose this guy, and then I'll have 2 left on this guy.
And then I've got 20 attacks with the Tearing Fangs. And these are going to be on 4s and 3s. That is going to be a total of 7 at -1. Even the Vanguard mounts have Ren now.
This will be 7 4-ups. I need to make 6 of these. Nope.
They're just 1 damage each.
Alright, do I get to attack?
That is all of my activations, and the Vanguard have already used their once per game to fight twice, so that it is what it is.
Sounds good. I will pile in with my Tyrant first. He has...
I am going to all-out defense the Vanguard here.
Sure. This is going to be 3 attacks, 3s and 3s. Oof. And then 2 attacks, 3s and 3s. Nope. He's going to whiff. And then I am going to spend all-out attack with my unit of Gluttons.
Sure. My knights here have already all-out attacked, so they can't do anything defensively.
So these gentlemen have 3 attacks apiece, plus the leader has 4, so that's going to be a total of 13 attacks. These are going to be 2s and 3s. So this is going to be a total of 7 at -1.
7 at -1. That is going to be 4-ups. And I'm going to fail 4 of them, made 3.
So that's going to be 8 damage.
8 damage. They are within the bubble of the War Shrine for a 6-up ward. And I'm going to pass 1 of those, so that is going to be 2 dead knights and 1 damage on another. 7 taken total.
So at the end, I do have my Gulping Bites. Any units within... so I'm going to roll for each unit within 3. So the unit of Vanguard on 4-up will take D3. Nope. First the unit of Knights. Yes, D3. For 1.
Okay, they've got a 5-up Mortal Wound Shrug, and they pass that.
And then your Karkadrak. He will take D3 for 3.
And he's got that same 5-up. He's going to fail all 3, though.
I actually don't owe a bravery check. I'm +2 to my bravery, so it puts me up to 8. Plus my banner gives me another, so that'd be 9. I lost 2. I can't roll above a 7.
Sounds good.
You?
The Chaos Knights lost 2. They are bravery 7, but they get +1 from their standard bearer, so they're going to be okay here on bravery 8.
Sounds good. How do you go?
Obviously a really good turn here for me. I knew when I got the double that I was going to be able to have pretty good output. I got rid of one of the units of the, what are they called, the Iron Guts. They're the unit that has really the most punch and that I'm most worried about. And just tore up your shooting. So I've removed the shooting. My heroes are now safe and back. Feel awesome about that. And I've got a lot of meat sitting in your corner of the board. Bringing down the Corvus really locks down that corner of the board, even if you tow on with a GV or something, because they are battle line now. All the cultists go into battle line in this new book. Really gives a lot of great flexibility. And I feel like I'm in a dominant position. If you double me back here, I'm standing to lose a lot of what's on that corner of the board, but I'm still going to be in what feels like a really great shape. So I hold 1, hold 2, hold more. Got my battle tactic of Desecrate, so I will score a total of 5 here.
Sounds good. Surprisingly, this is exactly where Gutbusters want to be. It's a little known that they prefer being down to the last guy, so...
Well, you're welcome then.
This is how I set it up to go, so I'm super happy. So for my turn, I am going to Finest Hour my Tyrant. I am going to choose Eye for an Eye. Do I have to pick the unit?
You do not.
And I'm about to tear some shit up.
I will likewise Finest Hour with my Cargadrak.
Sounds great. I'm going to start off with some casting. My Butcher is actually going to cast his War Scroll spell. This is going to be Voracious Maw. It's going to go off on a 7. I will need a 6 on dice to cast it. I'm going to get an 12 on dice.
Okay.
So, Cargadrak, I pick one enemy unit with a range invisible. That unit suffers D3. And then on a 4-up, he'll take another D3. And that continues until I do not roll a 4-up.
Okay.
So, he's going to take D3 here for 2.
He's got 2 5-ups. Going to pass 1. He takes 1.
On a 1 through 3, I will be shut down. On a 4, we'll keep doing this. Oof. Nope.
So he takes 1 more.
My Tyrant will attempt to cast Flaming Weapon on... Well, let's see if it goes off. He gets it on a 7.
I will attempt to unbind with my Sork Lord here. You got a 7, so I need an 8 on dice, and I get a 9. No Flaming Weapon.
Then I will go into movement.
My glorious golden boy, Sigvald, didn't make his charge. Very sad.
Yeah, I'm sure you're... I do have 1 shot with my Tyrant. He's got an Ogre Pistol. This is going to be 2 attacks, 4s and 3s. Both hits. Ooh. This will be a 2. Nope.
Ooh. Glutton's charge.
They're going to get a 9.
Okay, coming in.
So I'm going to put all 9 into Cargadrak.
And because you're Meatfist here and the size of the unit, you're looking for 4s, right?
Yep. So this will be 4-ups. This is going to be 4.
4 mortal wounds. Got that 5-up mortal wound shrug on the Cargadrak. And gonna make 2 of those. Is gonna take 2.
My Iron Guts are going to charge. They're going to get in on a 7. This is going to be 7 4-ups into the unit of Knights. I am going to make a total of 5 there.
Is that unit big enough to get the 4-ups?
Yeah, you just have to get 3.
Oh, it's just 3 now?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's why it's that.
5 mortal wounds. They have a 5-up mortal wound shrug as well. And they're going to pass 2 of those, so that's going to do 3. Going to finish off this wounded one and carry a wound. Yeah, no monstrous actions here.
I'm gonna put 3 of the gluttons into Carcadrak, and I'm gonna put 3 of the gluttons into the Vanguard.
And what's the rend here?
My leader will be into this unit of dudes.
Okay, what's the rend here?
Just 1.
Okay, I am going to...
and I don't know if I declared it, but I'm going to spend my last to all-out attack.
Alright, I will all-out defense the Vanguard here.
Sounds good. So it's going to be 12 attacks first into Carcadrak. These are going to be 2s and 3s. I did make an error in my last round. I rolled 3 attacks apiece based on the old war scroll, so sorry about that, guys. It might have helped against those knights. So we're going to have a total of 5 at -1.
5 at -1 on the Carc Lord. He is finest houred, so these are going to be 3-ups. And I'm going to fail 4 of those. He's going to take, what is that, 8 damage?
Yeah.
And then he's got his 6-up ward, and he is dead.
And then my 13 going into the Vanguard. These will be 2s and 3s as well. Whoa, that was a good roll. So this is going to be 4 8s at -1.
8 at -1. With the all defense, these are going to be 3-ups as well. But I'm only going to fail 1 of those. Very solid.
That'll be 2 damage.
2 damage. Alright, my activation then is going to be with the Chaos Knights, and they are no longer on the charge, so they're not as terrifying as I'd like them to be. They're going to put all their attacks into your unit of Iron Guts.
Go for it.
Total of 7 attacks with the Cursed Lances on 4s and 3s. Got 4 hits and 4 wounds at -1. Nice that they have some rend now when they're not on the charge.
These will be 4 5-ups. I'm going to make 1.
Just 1 damage each.
Okay.
And then the Trampling Hooves, total of 4 attacks here, 4s and 4s. 3 hits. And just 1 wound at no rend.
This will be a 4. Nope.
You love to see it. Got 1 dead.
The ugly one, the howler. I'm going to go in with my Tyrant.
Makes sense.
He is finest houred, so he is going to have 3 attacks. These are going to be on his Thunder Mace. If I do roll a 6, it will be better for me. So this is 3s and 2s. I get a 6, so that means... So this is going to be D3 mortal wounds in addition to what if I can get a 2 here and get this through. So it's going to be 1 at -2.
Okay. 1 at -2 is going to be, with the all-out defense, 4-up. And failed that.
So it's going to be 3 damage. I'm going to roll, so you can roll your mortal wound protection. This is going to be D3 for 3.
Okay, so 3 damage and 3 mortal wounds. First up, I've got 4-ups for the mortal wounds. And I'm going to pass 2 of those, so I'm going to take 1 mortal wound, and then 3 damage, that's 4 total. And then you got your next profile?
Yep, so my next one will be the Beast Skewer Glaive. It's going to be 2 attacks. This is going to be 3s and 2s. We'll hit. Both wound at -1.
-1 is going to be a 3-up. And going to pass both of those. My next activation then is with the Vanguard. They didn't charge, so they're a little bit less terrifying. But I'm going to pile them in. I'm going to have 2 of these go into the unit of Gluttons, and 2 of them go into the big name. The 2 going into the Gluttons are Spears, and the 2 going into the Tyrant are the ensorcelled weapons. So into the Tyrant, got a total of 10 attacks on 3s and 3s. That's going to be 4 at -1.
This will be 4 3-ups. And then damage.
2 damage.
2 5-ups. He's going to take 0.
Okay, and then the Tearing Fangs, 6 of them into the Tyrant as well. 4s and 3s. Just 2 hits. 1 wound at -1.
This will be a 3 up. He's good.
Okay. And then into the Gluttons, I've got 6 attacks with the Fell Spears on 3s and 3s. And that is going to be 2 at -2.
This will be 2. They still have -2 even not on the charge?
3 on the charge.
-2. These will be 6 ups.
2 damage each there.
I will lose the Glutton.
And the Tearing Fangs, 4s and 3s. That is going to be 3 at -1.
This will be 3 5 ups. Made 1 damage.
1 damage each on those.
I'm going to swing with my Iron Guts back into the Knights.
Okay.
This is going to be 3 attacks apiece, plus my leader is still there. So this is going to be 3, 6, 10 attacks. These are going to be 3s and 3s. It's going to be a total of 4 at -2.
4 at -2 are going to be 5 ups. And I'm going to make 2 of those.
It's going to be 6 damage.
That will probably clear the unit here, but 6 ups from that War Shrine. And I'm going to make none of those. That will clear them.
At the end of combat, my Tyrant is going to try to roll for a 4 up.
The Gulping Maws on the Vanguard. Yep.
Yep. And then D3 to the Vanguard for 3.
3 4 ups. And they are going to take 2 more.
So I'm going to get... I control 1, and I complete my battle tactic for 3. So I will be down 10 to 7. Unfortunately for you Gutbusters fans, if I do not win this priority, I am going to call it just because... but if I win this priority, I'm going to win the game. So one way or the other, it's going to be interesting.
Let's see it. I got a 3 to your 1. I will take it here.
Yeah, good game. I'm
Good
going to
game.
call it here. There's nothing
Sure.
I can do to get out of my own way now.
Yeah, what's likely going to happen here is the Khorne Vanguard are going to come in, activate twice. The War Shrine's going to come in and pin something. The Vanguard are going to get to fight over there and should take off your general now that he's no longer on Fidus Hours. And Sigvald's coming in, right? So
yeah. In addition, I mean, to me, the takeaway from this game is just how important it is to be 1 drop.
Absolutely.
I mean, so I feel like if Nick has to come into like my screen's first turn,
I just wouldn't, right?
Right.
Right.
So then, you know, it's just my first turn. When you have a first turn and then you get doubled, where your army isn't like a reach out and touch you army, you end up wasting your first turn essentially. And I don't think I should have tried to push up anymore.
No, I think the conservative play was correct. I was debating about whether I should go in as aggressively as I did in that first turn. Obviously, it worked out here because I caught a double, and that fixes a lot of aggression problems. But it was definitely a question about whether I should push up and be that aggressive early on. I think this Slaves army has enough meat. It's got enough wounds that it can weather a turn, and you're going to lose some units and things like that. But those Vanguard are very difficult to shift, along with the Knights. It's a lot of 3-up saves.
Yeah, I don't think this build of mine is at the level of competitiveness that it would take to face off against the Vanguard. Maybe if I have lower priority and I can arrange my charges, but what I want to do with this army is being charges. I got like 2 charges off the entire game, right?
Right. And that's part of my plan here is to be so fast that I can pin you in your corner, and that has the added benefit on Ogors of shutting off those charges, right?
Realistically, if I had 20 more Noblars, I would feel a lot better about this matchup.
Absolutely. The Noblars, I mean, we talked about it a little bit on Discord when we were talking about our list for tonight. The Noblars were the piece of your army that I was that forced me to play the most differently. Everything else I felt pretty good going into.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I could have pushed the Noblars up more. Either way, with the charge you got, you were going to be able to get around them more or less. Whether you had to angle out a little bit more here and then slant in, you would have been able to with how much movement you had.
The big difference with the Noblars being there was that my big charge allowed me to get into the Iron Blaster on my first activation.
Yeah.
I thought the Vanguard were going to have to activate twice to get into the Iron Blaster. So my plan was to use the Knights to blow up your Noblar screen, activate with the Knights, or with the Vanguard, and just push them forward, basically, and then activate again and take off as much of your shooting as I could. This obviously worked out a lot better for me.
Yeah, I honestly didn't feel horrible if I got the double into 3. I felt like I could push up with my my 3 Iron Guts and potentially get into something interesting, use their fight twice, and see if I couldn't mess some stuff up, and then I feel like I can set up enough attacks to take off your Vanguard.
Yeah.
And then it's, like, depending upon what I can get rid of, like, I have an outside chance.
I think, you know, my goal there would have been just to protect the Vanguard at all costs. Let you take the Shrine, let you take the Beast, let you take Sigvald if you want, and leave that unit of Vanguard up.
But at least then you have to deal with the Iron Guts over there rather than dealing with stuff where you can get a lot of stuff in. I think that, I mean, this is kind of a rare matchup, too, where neither of us took Bounty Hunters, and my army would suffer super hard. You already saw that I don't have very good saves, and if you have really good attacks on your damage, or really good damage on your attacks, you're going to take off a lot of Ogors.
Right.
But like now, if you imagine Bounty Hunters against this, right now until we get a new GHB, this army is not feasible.
Right. And that's, you know, one thing that we've talked about is how warping Bounty Hunters is for the meta, and how much armies are going to be able to pivot once they come into that. Some things that are maybe a little bit backburnered right now are going to become really potentially very good. And you've got things like the Iron Guts are the perfect unit for moving out of this General's Handbook. They don't need the extra reach. They've got that 4-man unit size that's just perfect.
Yeah.
And they, once Bounty Hunters goes away, they're just cleaning house, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, after you got those long charges, I felt very bad, because you basically got a free unit of Lead Belchers, which is 16 wounds that, you know, weren't able to do anything, essentially. And that was just the cream on top of, you know, your big charges. So, I mean, but I wanted to block out the Iron Guts there, so I kind of offered those up, because I didn't want you coming in and doing that second attack to the Iron Guts, with hope that I could retain priority and then start bashing in, but it just didn't work out. Yeah, I think the Iron Blasters are where Gutbusters are at right now.
Certainly, if I was facing off against 4 Iron Blasters, this would be a very different sort of matchup, right? Now, I feel like this speedy Slaves of Darkness army has some real play into a matchup like that, but it's a lot more uphill, because you're just tearing down all the support pieces and back at will, right?
So basically with this army, what you don't... Like, I like this army a lot that you built. What you don't want to see is something that has, like, multiple chaff units, right? Like, 2 to 3 screens. With
the chain activations, to me, this feels a lot like Iron Jaws.
Yeah.
And it's got some different play than Iron Jaws does. It has the option to run some really cheap chaff. But that's how it's going to play, right? It's going to want to get into a position where it can get into something and then chain activate down the line with a bunch of fights, and then be very durable on backswing, which Iron Jaws does as well. So that's kind of how I'm viewing the matchups, both good and bad. If it can get into something that doesn't have a lot of screens, and the meta is relatively screen light right now, then I feel really good about it. If I'm bogged down by a bunch of cheap screens, it's going to feel real bad to throw a unit of Vanguard into, 3 Aether Wings or something like that.
Yeah. That 3v3 casting for just a heroic action is
absolutely
so
incredible.
Effing good. Like, it takes like an army that really is truly average at Magic and just boosts them into a super competitive casting army.
Oh, and it's so nice that you can do that even in any subfaction. You can have a wizard that does that. I built this wizard specifically to maximize that, because it does give you a higher chance of miscast. So Master of Magic helps you reroll out of those miscasts, and then getting Arcane Tome to get that second cast on that one wizard that's doing it. But when you look at some of the Cabalist lists that people are throwing around, where they can have 3 wizards doing that same heroic action, and having bonus casts on all of those wizards, so you're looking at 6 or 7 casts, all at 3d6, throwing around endless spells, that can start to be some really terrifying magic. Cogs, obviously, an essential piece of that, so that you can reroll all of those casts and get out of all your miscasts. There's some real play there on the magic side of this book. The melee side of this book can either be incredibly durable or incredibly punchy, or some mix of it. It can go fast, or it can go slow and durable. I really like a lot of the options that Slaves to Darkness has right now with the new tome. I think it's a fantastic new book. The one thing it can't do is shoot, and I think that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, got to be some balance somewhere because of all the other good things they've received. Right.
It slots very nicely into every other army design you'd want except a shooting army. And that's where Cabalist may be the place where a lot of people go, so that they do have some range projection. I'm looking at allying in some Blissbarb archers so that I can clear screens with them.
What do they benefit from?
Blissbarb archers?
Yeah.
Effectively nothing, but they do bring some fairly good one-rend shooting.
Sure.
And what an army like this specifically wants is just the ability to clean 10 wound screens.
Sure.
And Blissbarbs can almost get there with an all-out attack.
Yep.
A unit of 20. 10 can't, or 11 can't, but 22 can.
Yeah, super good, interesting game. I'm still interested in what Meatfist can do down the road. It's not recommended right now until we get Bounty Hunter fixed, but I think once that happens, it could be interesting and fun.
One of the things that we didn't see here, but that is possible in Meatfist, is you can get your Tyrant on his charge doing mortal wounds on 3s.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy.
I considered it, but like it would have given me absolutely no benefit here. So that being extra tanky here was actually beneficial. Now the Tyrant, I don't know how good he is for 150 points. He's got 5 attacks, and
sure, they're good punchy attacks.
5 attacks is just always gonna disappoint, though.
Right.
But yeah, I still love my Gutty boys. Now that I've played them, I can go back to working on Idnith, and I'm excited for that. But yeah, maybe I'll play for Iron Blasters some other time.
The Slaves to Darkness subfactions we were talking about a little bit before. I ran with Knights of the Empty Throne here, which isn't getting a lot of looks. It's getting some looks, but it isn't getting a lot of looks. But I tell you what, there is very little as satisfying in the game as just being able to run and charge almost army-wide. All the mounted units here having run and charge. That is such a great feeling to roll all of those run rolls down the line when you're doing the movement.
It's ridiculously good.
Super good. On the other side, Ogors, I think the Beastclaw Raiders are maybe better than they've ever been. I think some of the new Monstrous actions, it's getting a lot of hype, but deservedly so. I think that gives them crazy amounts of play into some things.
It's hard to... It's again going to lack... It's going to... The new Monstrous actions help against screens, but you can also play against that a little bit, right? So
you just chalk up, you spread out all your units as much as you can to take up area rather than a strong line.
Right, and they're an elite army that has... I wanted Mournfang to be good. I'm not loving them.
They're better. They're improved.
They're very expensive.
Yes. I know Brendan is excited about them, excited to try them out and lean into them a little bit, but I wanted a little bit more. We saw some of their very cool rules, and I do love the rules that they added to them, but if they would have given just a little bit more punch, and then maybe bump their points up closer to the 200 range, but given them the sort of punch that they deserve, I think would have been more interesting.
So right now you get, they're 6 wounds each?
So you get...
And they're 175
12
points,
wounds for 170.
And you do get on the Gargan Hackers, but you're only hitting on 4s, and you only get 2 attacks each.
When you stack them up against 4 more Iron Guts. I feel like Iron Guts are a real melee threat.
And
so
realistically,
really
you're only losing 3 inches of movement.
Right.
Which is crazy.
Right. You do lose some of the special rules, like they're effectively unkillable in Unleash Hell and things like that.
Which may be good in the Iron Blasters.
Yes, they maybe counter Iron Blasters.
But 12 wounds for 175 with mediocre attacks seems pricey to me.
For sure.
That I would have to say Mournfang is the thing I'm maybe most disappointed with the book, because when the rules were spoiled, I was really like, oh great, now we have a super good roll.
Yeah,
I always thought they were going to make it more hitty.
You take those rules and put them on a slightly more punchy unit, and they suddenly become really, really compelling. It's also really annoying that you need to reinforce them in order to get what should effectively be standard unit abilities, right? Your banner and your instrument, right?
And on top of that, your charges aren't good until you get to 4.
You do get run and charge in one subfaction, so you can lean into them a little bit. But run and charge probably doesn't quite get there on them. You compare those subfaction abilities. There's a subfaction in Ogors that gives Mournfang run and charge. There's a subfaction in Slaves of Darkness that gives everything that has a mount. So that's all your chariots, your War Shrine, your Varangard, your Knights, your heroes. Everything with a mount gets run and charge. One of those subfactions is vastly superior to the other, right?
Yeah.
But I think both of these books have a lot of play, and I think both of these books are the sort of books where people will continue reinventing lists and experimenting with new things as the meta evolves for quite a while.
I mean, they've been out for a week, so I would hope we got a lot of time with them. Right. Plus, we get this automatic reset with the new GHB, which we were talking about before. I'm really hoping it's out by the end of by Christmas time, but let's not hold our breath, because we know how long we waited on the War Scroll update.
We see some books though where the options that are good, the options that are compelling and work well together in the book are so limited that regardless of points, those are kind of the things you push to build towards. And then again, this continues the trend of these 3.0 books where there's a huge diversity of strong, compelling choices, and maybe as points change during meta adjustments, then lists can really pivot into radically different directions, and I'm excited to see them building that internal balance so much better now.
Yeah, for sure. All right, everybody. Sorry the Gutties didn't show up a little bit better, but we'll get them next time. We appreciate you guys staying with us this long. If you're still listening, there might be a couple of you that we're talking to, so that's appreciated.
Cheers to the Slaves to Darkness fans who stuck it out.
Yeah. Like and subscribe. Give us a comment. We'd love to discuss what we did right, what we did wrong. Some known errors on my part, but Nick probably played flawlessly, so that's great to know.
Always do.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.